go. So Westborough TV, you all set? Thank you, sir. So I will call the first meeting of fiscal year 2022 of the Advisory Finance Committee to order. And welcome, everyone. I guess because we're remote again, I've got to read the
you get to do the reading.
Get to do the reading. So pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting of the Westborough Advisory Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Westborough's website at www.town.westborough.ma.us. Oh boy.
Anyway, all right. Well, with that said, I'm just going to take a few minutes before you get going on the agenda. I want to introduce all the committee to the new member, Tom Dolan. Tom, thanks for being here. You may recognize Tom's name mostly because he's a longtime town resident, if not a lifelong town resident. And he also ran for selectman for the 1-year unexpired slot. And so after the election, I had a number of people mention I should contact Tom. I had also made a mental note to contact Tom. And after talking to him in the run up to the annual town meeting, I had spoken with him and he has agreed to serve. So Tom, I'll let you introduce yourself. But anyway, welcome to the committee and thanks.
Thank you very much, John. It's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to learning. I've got a lot to learn, but yeah, like John mentioned, I'm a lifelong Westborough resident, grew up on Flanders Road and live right down near the Rotary now. So I'm excited to be here and thanks for welcoming me with open arms.
Thank you, Tom. First order of business is to review the minutes of meeting number 29 of fiscal year 21. Any questions?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of fiscal meeting 29 of, and I forget the date.
June 24th.
June 24th.
Right.
I do have one amendment. I mistakenly left parentheses ATM from our ATM meeting on that, so I'm going to remove that. So,
okay,
as amended, maybe
as
would be your motion.
It's amended. Great. Is there a set? Well, we don't have to do a second anymore, do we, John?
Well, yeah, you should try.
No, I mean, the way the tradition always was is that if the committee is okay with not having seconds, then you can not have a second. Back when I was on the committee, we used to just figure, well, if it matters enough to one person to make the motion, just have the motion and deal with it. It's sometimes just as quick to deal with it without a second and move on than to worry
Never
about
had one not seconded. We've never had one not seconded that I know of. So I think that's a good move.
Okay. So all in favor? Baretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Hold on.
Melanie.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Andrew, I know you're here.
I just joined and caught the tail end. Is this for the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Or is this for the motion? For meeting minutes, Bradley, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tom, you're up.
Roush, yes.
Zeke, yes.
All right. We are.
Going all over the place.
Leslie, yes. I got everybody as a yes. Is that
Yes.
anybody not say yes?
Yes.
900.
All right, guys. This is a dry run for this fiscal year, right? Okay. Got to get it right.
Looking good.
Okay. All right, somebody's got a dog barking. Okay.
Must be Andrew.
Yeah, must be Andrew. Okay. Okay, so the principal order of business this evening is a review of the Board of Health request for a transfer of funds from our AFC reserve account in the amount of $10,000. Beth, you're the
Yeah.
liaison. Do you have any information for
Yeah,
us?
I don't think I'm actually the liaison. I'll act as the liaison. I did talk to Ray. Well, I talked to both the Board of Health Chair and the Board of Health interim. So basically, and I just sent Walter Leslie an email. I was having a problem grabbing everybody's email address. I'm not sure what happened to my contact list. So I just sent Walter Leslie the spreadsheet that was sent to me. But basically, if you remember back, I think it was at the end of 2019, we stopped taking construction materials at the dump in an effort to reduce the tonnage. So as a result of that, the Board of Health reduced the amount of money it needed for paying Harvey's and Wheelabrator because there was going to be less tonnage at the dump. But they waited a year because they saw the numbers go down. And then COVID happened. And it seems that they think that everybody was home cleaning out their basements and their garages and possibly throwing a little bit of extra construction materials in as well. There was an 8% uptick in purchases of dump passes. And suddenly they had way more at the dump than they anticipated. The part that's a little fuzzy for me based on the note from Leah is it looks like there was an attempt to try and use COVID funds to pay for the overage, but that didn't work. And so they realized a little bit late in the game that they don't have enough money to pay the bills for the amount of waste that we have thrown away this year. And like I said, Paula Cavina sent me the comparisons from, I think it's 2020 and 2021 fiscal years. So you could see the uptick, and it was like October, November, December, people, like whether it was packaging from deliveries or emptying their basements, the garbage dump use went up significantly. And now it's settled back down, but they don't have enough to pay for what they have.
Any questions about their request?
Yeah, Mike, do we have a formal written request for the?
Yeah, we do.
With the department numbers and account numbers and all that?
Yes, we do. In fact, I sent that out to everyone, Hank.
You
It's probably
did.
may have hit your junk mail. Who knows?
Yeah. Usually I pull that stuff up, but I didn't this time because I was so focused on pulling the spreadsheet with the numbers. Here's the Board of Health request. Hang on. Nope, I take that back. That was the request for me to get information.
It was sent July 7th at around 8 in the morning.
Thank you.
I've got it if you want me to read it, folks.
I apologize. I'm realizing that's when Ray Gauthier sent it to Mike. I actually have it July 7th at around 5:40 in the afternoon.
Here it is. So, Hank, is there, other than inquiring if we had an official written
Do
copy?
you want me to make the motion?
Yes, if you would, Beth.
Okay. I move that we transfer $10,000 from the Advisory Finance Committee Fund, reserve funds, to the Board of Health trash removal account number 14333-5242 for the purpose requested to pay the bills.
Okay. We will go.
Bradley, second.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. Go to a vote.
I actually have the discussion because I had a question and we jumped right to the motion. So my question is, it sounds like this is for covering expenses from Q4 of last year, and we're in July right now. Is this something that's?
We have until, I believe it's the 15th to pay this bill in a timely manner.
Yep.
With approval that we can still do this.
Yep. I get that. It just seems that we're months off of addressing this when it could have been done earlier and been perhaps part of town meeting.
They made a mistake. They don't have the Board of Health director right now. He stepped down, well, he took a different job in the different department. And so it's being run primarily by the sanitarian and their secretary. And they realized they goofed and they apologize. They would have brought it forward sooner had they realized. They thought they had the money to cover it.
Now that I know they apologized, okay, that changes everything. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. I understood that there was a goof in here, but I didn't realize timing was part of that, but I'm with you. So
Yeah.
thank you.
I have sent forwarded by email the information Beth sent.
Thank you.
Everyone should have that now.
Right. I think they really thought there was a chance that this could go under somebody's COVID funds
Mhm.
as well. And that decision came back a negative, so they need to pay the bill.
Thank you for all that background, Beth. We'll go to a vote on the motion. Beth, we'll start with you.
Okay. Oh, usually it starts with you. Okay. Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Tom,
Dolan, yes.
Bugle?
Paul,
Hegel, yes. Sorry, I was doing my alphabet in my head.
Leslie, yes.
Hank,
Roush, yes.
Zaffer. Okay, you're
You're
muted,
muted.
Zaffer.
Siddiqui, yes.
And I will vote last, Zaffer, so you don't feel bad this time. Ready? Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple of things to present to you guys very quickly. I attended a meeting of the town finance team on July 6th, and they informed us all that there will be a budget summit in September. Please, as soon as we get a firm date, I'll get them out to you. Essentially, it's to look at what we've got coming up in terms of large items or potential pressure items in the budget. And one of them, of course, is the library project. And the second is restoration of COVID related losses. They also found out that the plan that they presented at the town meeting to use some of the ARPA funds to pay off COVID related losses could not be done. So they're going to have to rethink how they're going to make up for those losses. The ARPA, we got our first tranche of the ARPA funds, $1.87 million. The issue that the, excuse me, the issue that the finance team sees is an issue of spending it, of course. They're still awaiting final guidance from the feds. And then they will poll the various town departments and request proposals from them for potential spending items. So that's number one from that meeting.
Mike, a
Yes.
question on this budget summit.
Yeah.
It sounds like we are expecting to have to go to town meeting in October requesting funding for the FY 2022 budget beyond what was approved at the Springtown at the ATM.
It may very well be the case, Hank, and I don't have a definitive answer on that one, but I'll find out. And,
Because
if they know.
otherwise having a budget summit in September
yeah,
doesn't feel like a smart thing, a useful thing to do, right?
well, agreed. But let's see what's what. A lot of this discussion about the ARPA funds over the last few months has been very fluid. There was a lot of uncertainty about what the guidance was going to be, and it doesn't seem like that has been finalized yet. So, with that in mind, I mean, our town manager and her staff also still have some balls they're juggling to try to figure out what they're going to do with all of this.
Do you know
So,
if we're conversing with like surrounding towns to find out like their verbiage or whatever for passage of getting payment versus like some of our stuff being, it sounds like some of our usage has been shot down. No?
I
Misinterpreting.
I don't know. You mean what they used as a request? The
How,
verbiage
yeah,
they used in the
is it how they worded it is why it was denied? Is it, you know, and if that's the case, are we looking at, you know, or asking surrounding towns, how did you approach this if it
Well,
went through?
Have they had anything be accepted yet? Do we even know that?
No,
Or denied?
we do not know yet. They have not submitted as far as I know. Okay, they didn't make any mention of it. They said they have to come up with some plans on how they have to deal with the revenue loss funds. Because essentially, they must come up with plans for the use that would have been initiated if the revenue had in fact been received when it was due. Okay, so yeah, are you applauding that?
My response was to Melanie, do we know that other towns have had their funds accepted yet? Their requests?
I don't know.
So that, you know, I think it's a multiple part question. But the other thing I wondered was, is there a tentative date for the September meeting?
No, nothing yet. The
Okay.
proposed dates are gonna follow.
Okay, thank you.
Following
I
up
mean,
on, sorry, Hank.
Mike, you can expect that it's not going to be very popular to go to the town in October asking to increase the tax levy for FY22. We've already hit them with an almost 5% increase in tax levy for FY22, and making that number bigger is not going to be real popular.
Yeah, I understand that. I'll have to go back to Christie and her team and see what they're thinking on that. If in fact they come up with plans that are acceptable on how that money should be spent, then we might avoid any need to go back to the town with tax for additional funds that would impact the tax levy. So why don't we hold discussion on that until I can bring you more information. Okay, Paul?
Well, I just had two thoughts. One, that may be the reason that, because they can't spend the money even if it's reimbursed without it being approved. And the second thing the first thing I was going to say was in response to what Melanie said. I think Shrewsbury got double what we got. So it'd be interesting to see how they are going to spend it, because they'll be having even more trouble probably spending it.
All right. Okay, also on August 24th, the Board of Selectmen is having a meeting on the debt strategy. And we have been invited to attend that meeting if we so wish as a committee. So put it down your calendars, August 24th. If you'd like to be there, I encourage you to do so. I think it's an important meeting to talk about the town's debt strategy going forward.
In person?
Yes, it's going to be an in-person meeting.
Okay.
Could we get details about time and location?
Yes, as soon as
When they're ready?
Well, as soon as I get them, I'll get them to you.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll be proactive. I'll see if they have something already set up. I have a feeling that's a Tuesday, so it may be.
It is.
Yeah, so it'll be probably a standard select board meeting. Okay. The next meeting that we have as a finance team, not the AFC, but the town, is on August 3rd, and we are going to be discussing OPEB. Okay, that came up as an issue in that meeting. As you know, we're at least 1 year behind in the funding of OPEB. And so I know they want to address it. And there'll also be a discussion in that meeting about the town's investment policies.
I will not be there. Just as
Pardon
a-
me?
I'll be on vacation. I
Okay.
will not be
Well, it won't be necessary for you to attend. It's the town manager's finance team.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I would also say, I'm not trying to characterize us as being 1 year behind in our payment strategy. I would say our strategy took a 1 year vacation because that OPEB balance is enormous. And what we were doing is just funding at a level that we thought we could deal with right now. So yes, we skipped a year, but I don't think we're a year behind.
Well, if we continue to do so, first of all, it's not a legal obligation. That's been reiterated several times to us. Secondly, though, Andrew, I think if we continue to if we go year to year without paying it or without making it up, we're always going to be behind. At some point, we're going to feel a lot of pressure to get that caught up, and it's $1 million right now, I believe, or 700,000.
So that's our payment. So I'm in agreement with you that we don't want to continue to underfund OPEB. And it's funny, the OPEB strategy ultimately has to dovetail with the debt strategy overall. And so I'm not disagreeing that we should be funding it. I'm just saying that we took a year off of contributing to something we don't have an obligation to contribute to, and we need to come up with a strategy for how we're going to be funding it. But we're not behind a year. We're not indebted to anything.
All right. I understand your point, and
Appreciate that.
yeah, I do. Any other questions or comments? Okay, any liaison reports? Okay,
Just a couple of quick updates at Fales. The recent rains caused a bit of a water issue at Fales in the new building. The good news is it was contained and addressed. There's going to be a conversation about costs as they might apply to whatever happened. But we weathered a pretty significant event with a minor impact to the school. It's not changing timelines or anything, but it was a good test. But for anybody who heard about potential impacts, it's expected to be quite minor, and we're going to be addressing it at our next bi-weekly meeting in a couple of weeks.
That work not under warranty? It's relatively new, right?
The issue isn't so much warranty. It's whatever the mitigation was. Did the mitigation fail? Is this something that should or should not have been addressed? So yes, we're expecting to cover most of it from whatever efforts need to be done, but there's overtime used by people who had to come in and do some cleanup. There's custodial services. So there's real local costs that we would have had to have borne, and to have made sure that the second day of rain, the day after, wasn't going to continue to pile onto the problem.
And that can't be pursued under any sort of insurance policy?
It's worth asking, but I'm expecting at this point, from what we've heard from the damages, it'll be small enough so that it's not the kind of thing that it's worth really pursuing significantly. We're within a year of the end of the project, and we said within 6 months of the end of the project, and we have contingency fees and budgets for it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that when one hears about water damage to a new building, it can quickly spiral to a conversation that goes to the wrong places. Addressed, competently compensated for, mitigated, and not expected to be a material impact. But I will update when the time is right.
I was just going to add, I don't think that insurance applies until the building is actually a building.
That said, there's warranties and all kinds of other things. I mean, there's going to be a lot of horse trading to figure out where the gap was, where the issue was, like what needs to be followed up with. There's a ton of different contractors on site, so who needs to compensate for what and when? It's a lot of moving pieces. I beg your pardon. Insurance is probably not the right avenue, but there are warranties and coverages that we probably can leverage to address some of the issue, depending on what the issue was that was caused it. So that they're still working on that.
Okay,
Let's
my
not get in-
mistake. Is Fales the one on Eli Whitney?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I was thinking of the other new building across town. Sorry. I wasn't here for elementary school for the kids, so.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Westborough has not taken ownership of the new Fail school yet. It's still owned by the contractors.
So Andrew, just curiosity, you're our liaison to what's called is it a school building committee or specifically to Fales?
It's a school building committee.
Okay.
And so that means I've strung along as these major projects have come up.
Great. I just wanted to write down the right thing.
Sure.
Okay, let's not go down that rabbit hole too much longer until Andrew comes back with additional information.
Sure.
May not even be something we need to worry about at this point. Speaking of committees, I got a request from the library director to appoint a liaison to the library building committee. Jody was liaison to the library, and we'll address liaison issues at the housekeeping meeting at the end of August. Okay? If anybody is interested, please let me know. All right. Okay, speaking of housekeeping meeting, would like to have one the last full week of August, which begins on the 23rd. So we have the 23rd and the 26th as potential meeting dates. I will toss that out to you guys by email, and majority of the committee rules. How's that?
Just for one or the other, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Yes. The big issue is getting liaisons lined up. And then hopefully by then I'll have some more information for you all on some of the other stuff that the finance team is dealing with. Okay. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Future?
Mike, can I just make a comment?
Yes, please, John.
Yeah, sure. I know people had noted I'd sent out early in the game on the Town Seal Review Committee. I had sent out an email saying that I was thinking of maybe having an AFC liaison to the committee, but I wanted to give a bit of an update as I've done more outreach and gotten some newspaper articles printed, and there might be another one tomorrow. I'm to the point now where I think I have a number of sort of quote regular townspeople who seem to be interested and who seem to be qualified for the committee. I'll be holding interviews. So as I thought about it, I was thinking that since we have a number of people who typically aren't involved in, mostly not involved in town government, and since there's going to be so many different points of view, I was thinking it might be best for me to not have an AFC liaison to that committee, and instead let the committee as a whole hear whatever the report that comes back is as part of the normal AFC process. So I just wanted to let people know, and if there's anyone who really had their heart set on wanting to be on that committee or be on a liaison, to just reach out to me directly, and we can talk about it and see if there's a way that a person could submit their own letter of interest or not. But I just wanted to make it clear, I didn't want to, because there was, pretty significant interest at town meeting and at the selectmen last year. I wanted to get as many sort of new faces and new voices involved as possible. And I think I've got a good cross section of a couple of young people, a couple of newcomers to Westborough, a couple of, old timers. But if anybody is specifically interested, just reach out to me directly and we'll talk about it.
Any other
And
comments?
obviously the committee will have a whack at whatever comes back at town meeting as part of your normal review process. And so just let me know. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions for tonight? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second, okay. Obviously, we're more comfortable with the old way of doing things. Okay, we'll take it to a vote.
Lumberg,
Sorry,
yes.
Zafar, Beretti, yes.
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Dolan, yes.
Steele, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Savig, yes.
Wow, 800, We are adjourned in 30 minutes. Congratulations,
Great.
everyone.